My name is Colin Baker, and you may be familiar with my work as the Sixth Doctor, if you're a Doctor Who fan, which of course you are. One of the biggest, I've heard. And as you're here, and I'm here, one of the biggest Doctors. I think I probably am, yeah. Come with me into the TARDIS. It has been a great pleasure to play the Doctor, Old Sixie, on both television, stage, and in the wonderfully produced audio drama adventures made by Big Finish Productions and licensed by the BBC. And that's what this podcast is all about. Doctor Who audio drama from Big Finish. You're in for a treat, because the TV cast in these adventures are back to entertain your ears with a host of familiar and new friends and enemies. Let's get to it, shall we? This week, we feature the final part of The Great White Hurricane, starring David Bradley as the Doctor, Claudia Grant as Susan, Gemma Powell as Barbara, and Jamie Glover as Ian Chesterton. And if you missed the previous 3 episodes, they await you if you want to go back and listen. But if you're keen to jump in now, let's do a quick recap for you. New York in March of 1888 has seen the TARDIS land on the eve of one of the greatest storms to afflict the city, with blizzards setting in that will kill a great many of the inhabitants. That's if the gang warfare doesn't first. Susan has been caught up in that conflict by being kidnapped by a gang member, Patrick Ellis, who's on the run from his rivals after killing one of their number. After narrowly escaping death on a number of occasions, having been pursued onto a frozen River Hudson, with the ice under their feet now cracking, it looks like the great escape is sunk. The Doctor, for his part, along with Patrick's brother Daniel, who's hoping to save his brother, and thus Susan, have fallen into the hands of the rival gang's leader, who is now intent on closing in for the kill. Ian and Barbara, meanwhile, are helping a fellow storm casualty, Rosalita, try to get her son back, who's been abducted by her abusive ex-husband. Trying to make his escape on a train, the weather has seen to it that the locomotive derailed. In the process of trying to rescue the survivors from the wreck, the storm has brought a telegraph pole crashing down right on top of Ian. The stakes are high, my friend, as we strap in for the final installment of The Great White Hurricane. The wisdom of the Doctor, the intelligence and compassion of a gang leader, and the warmth of the TARDIS. A bittersweet ending, with hope for Ian and Barbara for getting home. Famous last words, eh, Doctor? And I should know. Now, on to a look behind the scenes, and Big Finish guest casts are always excellent. So let's hear from some of them now. Here we go.
My name is Ronan Summers, and I play O'Connell. I think he's quite intelligent, and I think he, in an odd way, takes pride in his intelligence. And he knows about simile and metaphor, and he certainly, in his mind, and I think he's right. Maybe that's because I'm playing him. I think he's smarter than both of the Ellis boys, and I think he's got them, and he shows throughout the piece that he's got them where he wants them the whole time. So it takes someone with superior intelligence to talk him down, and that, of course, is our Doctor. I'm of mixed parentage, so my mother is American and my dad is Irish, but to simplify things, I lived the first decade and a bit of my life in New York. So I was vaguely aware of the events that take place in this specifically. I'd heard some stories about it, and everyone talks about the 50-foot snowdrift and all that stuff. But I was also very aware of the type of weather, and something that I've noticed since going back to New York, over the last few years, whether you say that it's global warming or something else, there's a lot less of that stuff now, that type of really, really extreme weather that the East Coast was known for. It tends to be, in my limited anecdotal experience, seems to be moving more towards a temperate thing that, like what you'd have here in the UK. I mean, Not quite the same. It still gets really, really cold at New Year's and things, but maybe it's that you remember snowstorms as bigger when you are a child than when you're an adult. But it doesn't seem to me like they have those humongous snowstorms all the time like they did.
Corey English, and I play Daniel Ellis. I have been in New York through blizzard conditions. It was about 2.5, 3 foot of snow. I had a headshot appointment that day. Right, and the whole city was just closed, except for the subway. Everything that was underground was open and was running normally. So my photographer said, "Where are you, Corey?" I'm like, it's a blizzard out. He went, "I'm here." So I took all my clothes and my suitcase, and through 3 foot of snow, I got into the subway and I made it and I had my shoot.
I am Jackson Milner, and I am playing Patrick, a member of the Mad Boars gang. Who doesn't want to play a New York gangster? I think that was it, really. It was a really dynamic character who's quite brash and exciting. And then as you get towards the end, you realise that actually he's quite a vulnerable, broken guy, really, who's just looking for a family. I think that's quite an appealing mixture.
My name is Carolina Valdez, and I play Rosalita. Mainly I was interested in sort of finding out who this person was and what it might mean to her to have such a tiny anchor in her world, in this vast world of, New York and the storm and time traveling. And it's like this little woman holding on to a son. And it felt really lonely. So I thought, yes, I would like to approach her from her loneliness and trying to imagine what a sort of carcass and wall she must have had to build in order to protect that, and how incredibly frightening it must be to have that put in danger.
Now, a roll of the destination dice as I gaze into the vortex shows me that our next destination is the early adventures and the second Doctor in an adventure that Sci-Fi Bulletin called one of the best recreations of the period that Big Finish has done. This is an excellent addition to the stories featuring the TARDIS crew of the very early Troughton years. An excellent start to the new early adventures. 10 out of 10. So join me next time for the Night Witches as you prepare to come with me into the TARDIS. For more adventures in time and space with Old Sixie and a host of other incarnations of the Doctor, old and new, check out the new Big Finish website at bigfinish.com. You've been listening to Into the TARDIS, hosted by me, Colin Baker, and produced by Ian Meadows. Supervising producer was Lizzie Wursdell, and executive producers are Nicholas Briggs and Jason Haig-Ellery.